These are your readings from the Waist Up, and I'm Megan Benanti. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so let's see what we've got for you guys today. We're going to take a look at our charms. By the way, I will never contact you and ask you and feel compelled to give you a reading. Like, if somebody wants to book with me, they book with me. So do just be conscientious of scammers out there. I've been taken advantage of by someone before I knew that was a thing. And I thought, oh my gosh, she was so icky. I didn't expect that. And it feels terrible to be scammed. It just does. So know that, if you want to work with me, just book with me. No big deal. Okay, first charm. We have a stork with carrying the baby. So perhaps there's something you want to step into there. It doesn't have to be a baby. We've got the hand with an eye on it. I love this one. And our third charm is, it's a very fancy kind of royalty type of chair there. So, and it does have little decorative stuff on it. It's kind of feminine in nature. All right, so you're going to choose the stork with the baby, the hand with the eye in it, or the fancy chair. So whatever you feel like is calling to you today, and then we'll kind of go into the details of those as we go into the reading. And I'm working with a Victorian Romantic, which is a favorite deck of mine. It's old, it's kind of grubby, which was the way my first tarot teacher described her favorite deck was grubby. But I always think it's kind of like shuffling carpets because it is worn out. But you'll love the images from this. Okay, stork people. Ooh, okay. Well, you've got strength, and when we see this, and this is a very powerful card, it lets me know that you are navigating the difficulties in your life right now. Yes, you're strong. You've got the ability to do it. You might even be doing a little more exercising than normal, but it also means that things are tough. And so you are having to push through. You are having to make those muscles, whether that's your brain or your biceps, stronger right now. And so to do that, it is overcoming something. So, you've got a soul level card. You're going through transition. But if the goal is to actually give birth to something, then that is what you're working on. And that's really significant here. And we also think about the stork carrying the baby. That was the illusion we were told. I don't know when that came out, if it was the 20s or the 30s, but it was always on TV when I was young. And I don't know if they still make plays on that at all. But, it's an illusion. It's not really facing the reality of a situation about where babies come from. And so, I want you to think about that as we go through this reading. What is the reality here? What are you maybe having a difficult time facing? I definitely see you're struggling to navigate it, but you're doing it well. And so, give yourself credit for that. I'm pulling a major arcana for you. We got the Hangman. And he is in reverse the way I'm looking at him. And so what I want you to acknowledge is that there is sacrifice that needs to happen right now. And you are trying to understand that. And I will say this one, he's been to war. So there's a sense of things that have been painful here in understanding this new perspective. As you look at this, what I want you to consider is how is what your soul is telling you. So no matter who you talk to about the situation, because we gather people around to help us, to support us, to validate our stories. And, you might be doing all that, but if you still have this itch on the inside, like something you can't scratch, that is your soul saying, admit where you're wrong. Admit you're part of this. And it's a difficult thing to do, but that's where the growth comes in. And I want you to really consider that, because I feel like you're struggling with what you actually feel bad about. And so start writing, what did I do wrong here? How could I have done this differently? And that's just going to bring your level of awareness there, and it's going to raise your consciousness. And when we raise our consciousness, we raise our vibration, and we begin to look at the world differently. And the more that we do that, the more the whole vibration of our collective evolves and the better we become. So consider this. I know it's not easy, and you can tell me I'm wrong, you can tell me to bug off, all those things. But I think there's more here. Let me go into your next card. If your work school card, whether you're working or in school, Seven of Swords. So this is the idea of somebody getting away with something. Is this you or is this someone else? It can be a theft of the heart. And what I want you to consider is who's being taken advantage of here. It might be you, it might be them, it might be both of you. And so how do we navigate this differently? What's been missing and how do we fix that? And if it's not fixable, how do we just clean it up so it's not quite so icky or sticky to navigate? Your personal life, you've got a lot of action here. 8 of Wands. And so you've gone from, you had an 8, a 7, and an 8. And moving into the future, you've got a 3. So full speed ahead energy, very active. If you are someone who is in a sport or exercising, there's a lot of hustle for you here with your sense of building strength and the activity that's going on. This is an interesting 8 of Wands. Usually there's no people present, but we actually have a man racing a stag. I love that. And so, you know, for you, what do you want to reach for? How are you stretching yourself right now? This looks really good. And I will say that some of the personal drama here that was showing up in the work school environment is going to pass. It's not lasting, but I do see, going back to that hangman, which is in reverse, so a sense of sacrifice for yourself right now and needing to figure out and understand yourself more deeply, needing to look at the soul center versus just the ego. And if you've ever read any Eckhart Tolle, he talks about the ego not as like this icky thing, but the ego is the part of us that's human, that does all the human things and manages our lives and helps us get through our day. But the soul is the essence of who we are, that godlike substance that we connect with. That's where intuition comes in, when we're connected with our soul. And so, you know, you've got some interesting juxtapositions as you're learning to navigate both. Definitely your ego's in a good place. Your soul is where some of the challenge is. And understanding your soul, not that your soul is challenged. Souls are always in a good place. It's the ego that gets challenged. I said that a little discombobulated there. Okay, so moving forward into next week for you, I do love this energy. You've got 3 of Cups. So despite what might have been difficult in that school work environment, you're getting into a better place. I see you communing with others, being confident and social. Also, so much creativity in this particular card. So, you know, definitely if you have any creative pursuits, don't be afraid to tap into that. Even if that's, you know, schoolwork or writing or just something you personally enjoy, just moving into more fun. And so you're at go time right now. This weekend is going to be, you know, a lot for you to navigate, but I do feel like things are going to kind of smooth out as you move forward. So love that for you. Let us take a look at our hand people. Okay, hand with an eye in it. It's such an interesting charm, but I've always loved this one because it is odd and unique, and I think that makes it even more special. It's always hard to find something that's really different, you know? Okay, so for you guys, okay, maybe not the best moment for you now. I've got Three of Swords. It is in reverse. For me, that means it's to a lesser degree. So, you know, upsetting, but not necessarily fully traumatizing, but it can be. It depends, you know, actually it depends on the moment because we kind of fluctuate in and out of how we feel about things. So, and it's interesting to have the hand with the eye in the center because this is considering your perspective and looking at things differently. I want to look at your major arcana with this. With Three of Swords, the conflict often involves three people, although this one, yeah, there's still a third in here. And I want you to lean into your support system a little bit. There's a call for that. So, you know, definitely rely on someone that you love. And you do need a little more soothing right now. So whether that's self-soothing, and that doesn't mean going out and eating 10 candy bars, but you know, we got to lick our wounds. So how do you self-soothe? Maybe that's a hot bath, a cup of tea. Try to do it in a way that's healthy rather than, you know, getting stoned or drinking or overeating. You know I struggle with my reward system being dessert so often, but you know, what I want you to think about is what can be a healthy reward and soothing for you right now. Okay, your major with that, the Chariot. This is interesting. So this, for me, Chariot energy usually has a lot of hustle in it. This particular one, though, is very, very still. And so I want you to think about the short-term goals of where you're going and what that looks like. Oh, it's also interesting to note he's sitting backwards in the Chariot. The horses aren't really moving, but he's not paying attention to where he's going. So I want you to think about that. Even the fact that the eye is in the hand, not in the head. What is your focus right now? You need to focus and get really clear on the direction you want to go. That's going to help you navigate your life. Because if we don't know what we want, then we live a fated life. So if you decide what you want and you're focused on that, that creates an intentional life. But, you know, if you're not deciding what you want and you're just letting things happen to you, then you feel like, oh my God, everything wrong always happens to me, and your life feels fated. So create your destiny, don't live in fate. Okay, so work looks good. Work, school, there's a little bit of generosity here. So that could be financial, it could be time. This can be you giving or you receiving. So perhaps you're helping someone out, or, you know, we are coming up on the end of the year. So maybe you're looking forward to that bonus coming up. I would say overall this feels good, and that you're being conscientious and kind towards the people that need it right now, and that's important. Your personal life, we've got a new beginning. I love this. You're thinking about it. You're getting it figured out. So Ace of Swords, what is it that you want to dive into? This feels like a personal quest for yourself, and it's also requiring you to have a little faith in magic right now. So, and what I mean with that, that could be science. You know, essentially everything that we see as magic has a scientific basis to it as well. It's just, it takes time for us to figure out the science behind it. So that doesn't make it any less magic. It still is what it is, right? Like, we don't have to panic about that. It's just then we can understand it more deeply. That's cool. That's not a bad thing. You know, we used to think the world was flat. Now we don't. So, but that doesn't make the world any less special. It's still a magical place to exist. So looking at your Ace of Swords, I feel like to make this idea happen for you, it does require part of that Chariot to take action, to not be so still, to focus on what it is you want. And it's right there, and yet you seem to be hesitating on reaching for it. So what is that about for you? You know, is it resources? Do you need to find out more information? The owl is flying away. So is there some kind of something that you feel like is a mystery for you in this? Or is someone left you behind and you're starting a new cycle? Just consider your options here. There is goodness to come, and there's a break in here that feels really calming. So I do think if you want to step into this new energy, you can do it. You can rock it out. So don't be afraid to go for it. All right, now stepping into your future, I have justice, but justice is in reverse here. And rather than a sedentary justice, this is an angel holding the scales of justice, and Lucifer is falling. So really, really powerful image. I love this one. And what for you feels out of balance in the next week? What is going to be like, feel inherently unfair? And what I want you to consider is there is no guarantee in life that it will be fair, ever. You know, we just had an election day, and for some people that's going to be great, and for some people that's going to feel really out of balance. So as you navigate this energy, think about how can you balance your own scales out despite what is happening around you. What do you need to do to stay in balance? And one of the things you have swords in justice, you have swords in the Ace of Swords, you've got Three of Swords, and here she's also standing on a sword that she's taken from Lucifer, so as well as the one that she holds. So where are you being thrown off? You know, why do you feel defenseless right now? And swords represent words, thoughts, ideas. What are the cutting ideas? What are the cutting thoughts you're having? Just consider all this. It's not necessarily going to be bad. It's just understanding it. And for you, understanding it on the soul level. Justice is a major arcana. That's a soul level card. So is the Chariot. So I feel like, you know, this week you've got some good things. You've got a little bit of woe with that Three of Swords, but it is going to be continuing to navigate that into next week and getting a clearer sense and understanding of it. Whereas right now, I feel like it might feel just a little bit chaotic and you're not really sure about all the issues with it. But I do think that'll become a little more clear as you move forward. Give yourself the visibility to see the situation, see the other person, see yourself in it. And that might also be, you know, when we think about the hand, we often reference the hand of God. And so allow God to hold you in this moment, however you experience that divine energy, whether that is through quantum physics, karmically, whatever. Allow yourself to feel held. And to do that, meditate. Go into that quiet space and just be in the moment, okay? So now let us take a look at our chair people. That's our last one for today. Okay, and if you guys can give me some comments below, that definitely helps. I just want to see if people are actually watching this. I feel like there's like one or two of you out there in the world, and I appreciate that. So, but don't be afraid to say something, at least give me a wave. So, okay. Chair people, we have for you, ooh, okay, you're learning some new things right now. Interesting, the sense of direction is part of this. This is not an easy time for you, but I do feel like you're trying to step into the best version of yourself as far as learning and growing and trying and putting effort in. I do want you to focus on, again, kind of where you're going with that. What's the purpose of it? You've got a lot of challenges, so you know, it's interesting to have the comfortable chair, because I'm not sure that you're super comfortable right now. And so we want you to do what it's going to take to make the necessary changes. Let's see, I'm going to pull up your major. All right. The star. Okay, so this is good. You're hopeful, and we want that. We want that sense of the universe will have your back. And, oh, and it's interesting. Okay, she is pouring water, but not necessarily into water. So I want you to balance between your emotions and your intellectual side. Whereas typically with star, it's feel, think, feel. This is really feel and think and navigate that. So I feel like you're learning something new. You're stepping into that. Your school work environment, it feels like it's really tough right now. You've got Nine of Wands, it's in reverse. You know, this is kind of being underprepared and somewhat overwhelmed, but he's been at war and there's chaos and drama all around this guy. So, you know, looking at this for you, it feels like you're in a situation that is happening whether you want it to or not. It's just all around you all the time, and you're trying to safeguard yourself as best you can without being victimized by the drama that's happening. Not an easy place for you to be in, whether that is work or school. Do the best you can, okay, and stand your ground the best you can. Personal life, King of Swords in reverse. So you've got a very difficult man here. This can be a father figure, a spouse, a lover, but someone who is not emotionally available to you right now and might also just really have a sharp tongue and be being pretty critical. You know, there is the off chance that maybe he's just out of town. That can show up that way when he's in reverse. But for most of you, I feel like there's a sense of wanting to repair a relationship with this person, and you don't know how to do it because they don't really feel approachable. You know, he's not even really sitting in a comfortable position. He's kind of on his guard. He's melancholy. The tower around him is broken, the arch in the background there. So, you know, there's a lot that's happening that feels like, how do I ever make it happen with this person? And maybe even feeling somewhat small when you're with them, and I'm unable to. So what I would do, looking at this, what's coming through is that you need to write a letter to this person. Not a letter that you're going to give them, but a letter that says everything you want them to know, everything you want to say. And it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be beautiful, but it's for you to understand and get clear and be able to express everything you want to express to this person, even though you don't feel like you really can. So this letter is going to be for you, but you're addressing it to them, and it's to navigate your inner workings. Now, there might be a revised version of this letter that would come after that you could write about how much they mean to you and how you want them to be in your life in a way that is meaningful and purposeful. But you have to get all the other stuff out of the way first. And that's, you know, we have to do the background work before we can do the foreground. So that's going to be significant in that. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit, you know, get in your comfortable chair and do your writing. So as I'm looking at your little charm. Okay, now moving into next week for you. This is fascinating. You've got the star. She is in reverse though. So we have two different star energies here, and this is why I like to work with different cards. They read very differently, and that has significance. So with her in reverse, there is a sense of feeling vulnerable and exposed. Not a whole lot different than where you are now. So moving to next week, except that you're understanding yourself more deeply, and you're really, because the star is a major arcana, so we're looking at your soul's energy. I also think you're understanding your boundaries with your family better and what can happen there. So it might be a little depressing, especially if you write this letter, because It's hard when we love someone and they make us angry. And but understanding that gives us power and wisdom and strength. And so, it might bring up a lot of stuff to the surface for you when you do this writing, which can be part of the star in reverse. But that's an understanding, and there's power in that. So don't give up hope that things might not get better. It's just understanding the dynamic of this person and how you feel about them better. So anyway, I think this is really significant for you. I don't want you to get super down next week as you navigate this, but know that hope is just on the other side of that feeling of depression. And if you find you're struggling more, write more. The more we write, the more we get it out of us, or get a therapist and talk to someone. And when you go into therapy, you have to crash and burn and hit a really low bottom before you can rise back up. I used to think that that would kill me, that I would die when I would hit that pit. But what I found is that was the thunderstorm. And then the air within me could clear, and the skies in my life were so much bluer afterwards. So I feel like you're kind of coming into this thunderstorm as you navigate some of this energy about how you feel. And that's going to be okay. Just know that the clouds will break, the storm will break through, and you will have an awakening afterwards. Okay? So I know that's a little bit difficult, but I really believe you've got this. And I will see you guys again next week. Thank you.